So what I was going to focus on is kind of highlight some of the latest updates. Yesterday we had another session that was just focusing on the most recent update starting on that we released on Sunday. But today I was going to focus primarily on the task piece as well as kind of the CRM. Does that work for you, or do you want me to focus on anything else?
That's good. The other thing, so we want to talk, if we can, we'd like to talk about the schedule again, because we're still, you know, it's not working out the way, we're still trying to figure out, I should say.
Okay.
You know, we've a couple different ways. The other thing is, I would love to talk a little bit more about the CRM and if we can export information out of the CRM. So like now we have, with the healthcare people, if we could sort of control healthcare and actually export it and be able to give her a list of all the people that we have and we know, you know, that kind of thing would be helpful.
Okay, sounds good. And it's also good that you guys are chatting with John. Just so you guys know, John is our newest addition to the Kinetic team. He was primarily hired, to support all of our applications and primarily KPMIC. So he's the guy that kind of manages our releases and everything. So it's good for you guys to know him. And then anything that we kind of talk about today, I think it's good for him to kind of hear the context and all the details behind it.
Yeah, cool.
Sweet.
And then
all right. Oh, keep going.
One more thing. I know before we change it to a project, we're supposed to designate a final quote, but I think we're still must be missing a step, because on a regular basis in Opportunity, you know how the dashboard is at the top? We have 0 numbers up there.
Ah, okay. All right.
So I think there's a couple of things we need to refresh on how to do.
Okay, that's fine. So since most of your stuff is CRM focused, Karen, I think I'm going to start there. But I do want to talk about the task portion, because you guys are actually, like when I trained you a year ago, you guys were really adamant about wanting to have kind of a more robust task portion, a little bit more kind of easier to follow, a little bit more user friendly. And that's what we released a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to play with it. We kind of released it around Connect or maybe a week after. So that was obviously a busy time for everyone. Have you guys played with the tasks at all?
Kevin has. He's the only one. So how it going on is once it's turned over a project, it's out of Christina's and my hand and into Kevin. And Kevin then starts assigning tasks and continuing on the population of, so I don't know what he has thought of those tasks in.
So I'll show you guys that you can still use it on your end on the kind of CRM side of it. So I'll just kind of go over that and the benefit behind that too. So, all right, let's just start with the CRM here. So some of this I might be beating a dead horse, and I've also had a lot of these calls with different partners and they're like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. So I'm going to highlight something. Have you guys played with the quick opportunity create button yet?
I have. Well, you have. I think it's just, you know, if you put in, like, if I were to click on it and put in merit, or like the information would already.
Yeah, so it just saves you some time. I want to point something out here. So you guys know I'm from San Antonio, so I'm just going to use Spurs as an example here. So maybe we're going to do the coaches, so Pop's main office. And then if I tab down or click down, I can then click on Spurs or start typing it out, and then it automatically populates. I can start typing in these dates. But what I wanted to point out to you guys, especially since you guys are obviously sales and business development focused, if I click more here, you have this expected total cost and total sell. So I know when we were training, you kind of had to create a quote to then throw it on your forecast. This just allows you, so like, let's say that this isn't happening till, 2020. And all I know is basically, yeah, I think it's about $1 million job or maybe $500,000. This is where I can actually kind of throw that on here. maybe our cell, maybe we have a nice solid margin of 50% here. And then what that does is that automatically creates a quote just as a placeholder. It automatically puts it on your forecast, and it automatically just creates one line item of a cost and sell. That's all that does. So again, the beauty behind that is that automatically puts it on your forecast. So if I jump over here to the forecast.
That is cool. I did not know that one.
So here's Pop's main office, and it's right there. So again, we saved you the step of creating the opportunity, then creating the quote, then designating the forecast. Again, it's used for those things that you hear of, right? Like you know, ish heard of a project that might go down a year or two from now. Obviously, if you have more finances, you can actually go ahead and create the quote. But that's, I like to point that out just because it's just one line item. It shows up as a quote, and then as you guys actually have, you know, more detailed pricing, you can just start from scratch and then do all of your pricing from here.
Perfect. Cool. I like that.
All right. So the next thing I want to point out is the tasks. So you can use the tasks. This is still the opportunity stage. So you can use the tasks in a pretty neat fashion. So let's just say that you needed to review a quote or review the presentation, since I'm talking to salespeople. So maybe you need to review the presentation. Within the task, again, guys, this is really, it's a lot more user-friendly if you haven't been able to tell already. So if I needed to assign other people to review this presentation, instead of pressing that stupid add and then you had to like click more than one person, I can just click these little check boxes of whoever needs to review. I will point out, because I'm the one that created this, it shows that it's created by me and it automatically assigned it to me, but I don't have to remain assigned to it. For today, I just am. So Karen, if you're actually like creating something for any other team member and you don't really need to be a part of that, it's just more of you're throwing it on their plate, you know, you can just unassign it to yourself.
Okay.
What's also cool, so here's, you know, additional description. I know it's really creative right now. But what's cool about this is that you can have subtasks. So reviewing a presentation is just one big thing, right? Maybe you need to confirm ICE presenter is completed. And maybe that has a certain due date. And your overall task maybe has a certain due date. They could be the same, but maybe you need the ICE presenter done before this is completed. You can add, again, more subtasks, whatever they are. And they are, so when the ICE presenter is completed, you can go ahead and check this off. You can also assign subtasks. So maybe, Karen, you send this over to your designer. Maybe David needs to get this done. I don't know. But you can assign actual subtasks to certain items. So if you guys think, like on your like kind of project meetings, if you guys kind of have overall like maybe weekly to-do items, you could just create an overall task for the week too and create subtasks for one another. You can do it like I'm showing you right now, how it's just a particular item. Just to, I don't know, insert another example just for right now.
So, you know, like Christina just had one where she's looking at some head walls and foot walls. She actually met with David. She had all of, you know, the CAD file and things like that. So she actually could do that and then have a due date and here and then attach the CAD files, and then we have them automatically in Kinetic.
Exactly. So you can drag and drop the attachments right here. You can press this little button on the attachments. What I will show you guys, so right now it does toggle to a low priority, but if I just click it to a high priority, it'll turn red. This little heart shows that you can follow other people's tasks. So although you may not be assigned to it, if you still want to get notifications and you still want to get kind of an overall kind of what's going on, you can follow other people's tasks. Now,
let me ask a question. You know, part of the task in this is Aaron's doing some due diligence with dirt with this customer for a mock-up and finding out some information. So can we do tasks, actual tasks to our dirt rep too. I know we can pull them down and have them on it, but can we get that interactive outside?
Yeah, so for something like that example, Karen, it would have to be a project. But if it's a mock-up, you're technically already converting that over to a project, right? Just because you got to get all the moving parts and pieces.
Yeah, it isn't separate. It's not. We're not that far along. We're kind of doing them both, but Christine had a good point. Maybe we just put them in Kinetic as two separate, so we can turn it over to our project. Yeah,
because basically, as soon as remember, opportunities are private to the DP. But as soon as it's a project and you have the dirtbag on the team, you can assign them tasks. And that's the kind of a cool collaboration point too, because they can see the tasks. And I know some dirtbags are using it just for like their own to-do items, because as you can see, it's way more user-friendly now.
Okay.
But there's one more thing I wanted to show you guys. So you guys were just saying like you were working with David on a CAD file or whatever. If you have any kind of additional comments, so like for this example of the presentation, edited PowerPoint, see attached. You can have ongoing conversations within the task, so people just aren't kind of wondering like what the heck's going on with this. Notice I didn't have to double click into it either. So if I just single click, it shows up this information over here. So you guys can use this a little bit more, especially at the opportunity level, especially just on your to-do items. So if you need to follow up with somebody, if you need to, I don't know, give somebody a hug, whatever it is.
Follow-up call.
Yeah, so sorry, Karen, you kind of broke up in that. Say that one more time.
We keep it going to see dialogue, like if it's a follow-up call, we can just change the date, but we can see the call from the last time in the call notes.
Yeah, or you could also just add another like subtask, like follow-up call here, you know, and this has a particular due date, maybe.
Yeah.
You can also have like additional, you know, any kind of notes, but I thoroughly love our tasks, especially in a second when I show you guys for the schedule, you can link task items and schedule items together. So it's pretty nifty.
We can link what?
Task and schedule items together once it's a project. So I'll show that to you in a second.
Okay.
But I want to point out to email everybody that's assigned to it or has something linked to them. You just press that little mail button.
Mm-hmm.
Voila. What's also cool is anytime I added a comment, guys, the email automatically pushed through to me. So it's a lot more user-friendly on when it comes to kind of notifying you what's going on. Before you had to physically send out the email, essentially anytime a task is updated or it passed due, whatever it is, you're automatically getting emails.
Okay, that's really cool.
Then let's see, a couple other things I wanted to go over. So this is pretty much the CRM stuff I wanted to cover. It sounds like this, and then you had a question on exports.
Yeah, so if we want to actually see what we all have in here for healthcare, is there a way to, first of all, define it in a, just seeing it on the screen and then export it so we could give it to Chelsea or Andy or even Aaron for that matter?
Sure. So it depends on, I assume you're talking about like your end user contacts. So the contacts right here. If I press search, I can select the industry that they're related to. Right now, this is going to be a bad example because I don't have healthcare as an example, but if I press search, obviously nothing's going to show. Then you guys can export those people to Excel.
Okay. You know what? I'm pulling up ours and just want to try that really quick.
That's fine. So to show an example, so I have 2 corporate and 1 other. So if I click corporate, my corporate people will show. And then if I export this to Excel, just those 2 people would export.
industry doesn't have a pull down, so I just type it in.
No, it does.
Mine
It should.
doesn't.
Are you sure you're at the contacts page?
Oh, you're in contact. No, I went to the wrong one.
Okay.
There. Now I look like you.
Okay.
And then search, right? Yep. That's all. Oh yeah, and then it does say, let's just import from contacts from Excel.
So that's if you wanted to import contacts you had from, let's say, Outlook.
I think this is the to Excel would be what we would push to actually.
Exactly, the to Excel to export it. That's correct.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so let me jump to just a project here. Do you guys ever get that jumping thing that I just had where your screen kind of jumps like that?
We have, but I have not seen it recently. I used to get it all the time a couple months ago.
So remember, if you wanted to, this was an update that came out like a while ago, but people just kind of forget. The reason that it jumps is because the graphs change. You have one set of graphs here, and then you have another once you actually single click on a project. So if you don't want that jumping, or if you're not really paying attention to the graphs, you could just toggle the charts off, and then now you can just click wherever and you're not going to get that jumping issue.
Oh.
There you go. It's all right. I've already made your day. Just 30 minutes into the call.
Exactly.
Just with that little bit. Okay. So let's talk about the schedule and what's going on with it, guys. What's the main issue? Is it the color coding still? Is it too much information, not enough information? What's the nitty gritty detail here?
The bigger challenge, we're a small team, so we all pretty much know everything. And, you know, unless you sign everybody to the job and the task, not everybody can see a calendar at a glance. So actually, we recently went back to our old Outlook calendar, and we throw it on as events because we are so booked up. And, you know, Christina could be talking to someone, and they say, can you do this at the end of August? And she's got to be able to have a quick look or a find. And she was having to call Kevin or Dustin to figure it out and then get back, and it shouldn't be that hard. So we've just been challenged with the whole schedule.
Yeah.
And not from the, you know, project side.
You're absolutely right. It shouldn't be that hard. And I think the task and schedule items is going to be your new best friend. So I think if you guys actually use the tasks in conjunction with the schedule, it's going to be exactly what you need.
Okay.
So I'm in a project right now, and I have this little button that also says create a schedule item. So let's just say you need to schedule installers. You can add additional descriptions, whatever you need. You guys get the hang of it. I'm not going to go over that stuff again. But let's say you can actually schedule your installers right here. It pulls through the title, and it matches the date that I have here. So maybe the installers need to be all the way through the 11th.
Right.
And when I do that, it's going to show up on my schedule as well. So I'll just save this here. If I go back to my...
Showing up on like if Christina, let's say Kevin's doing that, would Christina be able to see it on her Connect?
Yeah, and I think that's a benefit of having it from the task, because what Kevin can do is he can either assign it to her, you can follow it, Christina, so like this little heart. So if you don't want to be assigned because you don't need all the updates, but you just kind of need some, you can follow it by clicking this little heart. You can sort by my tasks, the tasks I'm following, tasks that are assigned to me, closed, etc. But I think this is what will be your new best friend, especially because they can be linked. And I think and you guys can still get a calendar view of what you need.
Well, but can we separate the opportunity prospecting task from the project install task?
Yes,
Or is
ma'am.
that all lumped together?
So if my computer will wake up. So I believe, let's see, closed tasks, open tasks. You can search by a particular project. John, do you know if we could add in maybe seeing opportunity tasks and project tasks? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that would be a pretty easy way to sort, correct?
Yeah, I think we could do that. I think just as a follow-up question to if we're adding that, would we want to put that as like all open opportunity tasks, all open project tasks, and then vice versa, like for closed?
I would imagine so. Guys, you can chime in here. So what you were just asking, Karen, basically is like, okay, that's fine. Can we see opportunity tasks and project tasks, which I think would be really easy to sort. But what John is asking is, do you want to see like all open project tasks, all closed project tasks, all open opportunity tasks, all closed opportunity?
Yeah, it'd be nice to be able to go back to history, so I like the idea of closed. So one other thing I'd like to add is that, when we're looking at, in that case, we look at the calendar, that we have the choice of viewing, the opportunity task open.
Right, it would be the same, yeah, it would be the same search field here.
Okay. So, and then we could change that to project tasks where we're just the project showing up on this calendar.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
But I think that's exactly what you guys need. Like it sounds like we're almost there. We're like right at the finish line. But I think if we just added that search option, you guys will you'll come back to Kinetic, which is what I care about, because I don't want it to be harder for you. But I think too, if Kevin is already kind of starting using this, if you guys want to start playing around on your side with the opportunity stuff and maybe start following each other's tasks, one thing I encourage you to do is in your My Company profile, so on the top right by clicking this little person, you can select if you want daily task reminders. So basically everything that we just said, I would suggest you say yes. And then if you want to be notified of any past due tasks, either 1, 2, or 3 days past due, it'll send you a list of, hey, this is a day past due, or 2 days, or 3 days.
Yeah. So would Christina, I'm just now curious, in the task, would she be able to see my task? Let's say I'm on vacation or she's on vacation and we're trying to help out, and if there's any important tasks and we know the people, we can kind of keep the ball rolling. Would we be able to do something like that too?
Yes, absolutely. So you can see all tasks, you can see all open tasks, just the ones that mine are. I would suggest, like, if that's the case, Karen, so let's say that you're about to go on vacation, maybe get Christina to follow a couple of your tasks or something, just so they're on her calendar. They stay kind of on that, but absolutely, you can sort by all of them.
Cool. Yeah.
But I think that's exactly, and then also too, guys, notice here, because this one's a project, I have the little option to also add this as a schedule item. So remember that it's super easy. One thing I do want to point out too is, if you guys find the schedule a little bit too cumbersome, because some projects you don't need it, I want to show you guys, and you might want to show this to Kevin. I'm just going to convert a project really fast. You don't have to create a schedule template anymore. So if you don't know the finish date, and if you don't want to get the schedule created, you can just say no. I'm just going to quickly convert this over. So that maybe you want to always start in the task of this, right? Like, this is all your schedule is you just have basically the main honcho. And then maybe you guys start going over to the tasks and you start kind of creating all the tasks that you need, whatever they are. And then from here is where you actually start building your schedule. So that way it matches the task. They're one and the same.
Yeah, I like that. We've been challenged with the schedule. It's a lot of putsy work right now.
Sure.
So to schedule when we want to export something and give it to an end user or a general contractor or whatever. So we have been primarily working off of tasks to try to create that schedule, but this is a lot better. So we'll review this with Kevin.
Right.
For sure.
Because I think, especially if your projects are quicker, right, you don't need that long thing. And I'm sure Kevin's spending time maybe deleting more stuff than he is adding. So if you guys just kind of transition into just focusing on the tasks and then, you know, creating a schedule item from there, I think that's going to be more up to date for you.
Yeah, I
than
agree.
what it is now.
Cool.